Children in cages. So I reported that, yeah, there's a big problem in regards to children. The policies that are separating children from their parents. So what happened was, and this was happening during the Obama administration, it's just really gotten a lot worse during the Trump administration because, you know, he's got to cater to his base, and he said he was going to be tough on immigrants crossing the border, and I guess that means putting children in cages. So Senator Merkley was barred from entering a detention center for immigrant children. In Texas, Oregon Democrat Senator Merkley was barred from entering a detention center for immigrant children in Brownsville on Sunday after traveling to the center housed inside a Walmart to see firsthand the Trump administration's practice of separating immigrant children from their parents. So he got there, they wouldn't let him in. They would not let him enter. And then they called the police on him. The people at the detention center called the police on a senator who wanted to see what was happening inside the detention center where children, up to 1,000, they say up to 1,000 children are being housed, held. They wouldn't let him in. So there's really not more to say. Like, what? Well, clearly you're hiding something. So he eventually did get in. He went back and he got in. He tweeted, "I was barred entry, asked repeatedly to speak to a supervisor. He finally came out and said he can't tell us anything. Police were called on us. Children should never be ripped from their families and held in secretive detention centers." I do want to say this was happening during the Obama administration, just not nearly as bad. Federal authorities reportedly separated at least 600 immigrant children from their parents last month alone. 600 immigrant children were separated last month alone from their parents. And that's what they're reporting. And I always believe that they're reporting to soften the numbers, whether, you know, it's probably way more. He went on to say, "When I was at the center at McAllen Border Station, this is a processing center earlier, and I was admitted there, I did see the people, hundreds of children locked up in cages there at the facility. They have big cages made out of fencing and then wire and nets stretched across the top of them. So children can't climb out." Wow. The Trump administration says that the children are at this processing center only for 3 days. Jeff Sessions went on a talk show and said this as well. "Those children are being well taken care of," said Jeff Sessions on a radio host, Hugh Hewitt. "Within 72 hours, they're taken to the Health and Human Services to be sure they're properly cared for." Well, wouldn't you know it, Health and Human Services said that those children are there for an average of 51 days. 72 hours, 51 days. That's a big difference. So you have these children ripped from their parents, children who have escaped violence, such bad violence that they took the chance of migrating, you know, thousands of miles into a country where they know that it could be very dangerous for them. And on top of it, they're separated from their parents now. And then they're kept in cages. These cages aren't nice. They don't have beds. They have a blanket on the cold cement. Blanket on the cement. Now, I wanted to mention as well, you might be seeing this picture going around. Has the children in cages, and you'll see like 3 people walking by. And there's a cage here with like 2 children. That image is being used in a lot of the articles, and I looked into it, and that is actually from the Obama administration. That was from 2014. So it has been proven, it is a fact that the children are still in cages on the ground with one tiny blanket between them and the cement. But just to be transparent, and it doesn't diminish anything, but that picture was from 2014. Just that one. I'm sure we'll see more pictures now in the future, but obviously they weren't letting Senator Merkley in. They called the police on him, so they're not really letting people take pictures at this point, but we'll see them. Of course we will. So from October to April 30th, authorities apprehended 49,622 family units along the U.S.-Mexico border, 61% of them in the Rio Grande sector, out of 26,001 unaccompanied minors apprehended in the same period. 46% crossed at the Rio Grande sector. Minors who are apprehended crossing the border and the Rio Grande sector usually are sent to a central processing center. The facility can hold up to 1,000 children. So this is an old Walmart where these children are being held. Why are they crossing the border? Because of gun violence. So fact, the gang violence in El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala has led to a wave of immigrants seeking refuge by the thousands in the United States since 2014. Politicians have debated for years how to handle the influx, and the Trump administration announced in May that it would prosecute as many adults apprehended at the border as possible. Although the Trump administration is not the first to separate immigrant children from their parents, the practice is on the rise because of the zero tolerance policy. So that's what's happening is as soon as they cross over, their parents are being prosecuted, and at which point the children are being separated from them. Let's just backtrack here. These aren't criminals. They have done nothing wrong. I like to look at the big picture. We are all inhabitants of this planet Earth. In the big picture of things, what gives anyone the right to say, this is my land and not yours? You're suffering where you are, stay there. This is mine, that's yours. We are humans, and we're supposed to take care of each other and do for other people what we would want them to do for us. So lucky for us that we were dealt the cards we were, that we live in the United States, that we live in these safe communities with fences and walls and running water and electricity and Starbucks, and oh, life is so plush here. But screw everybody else who has it bad. Screw those who were dealt the cards where they were born into countries where there's so much violence that literally parents are uprooting their entire family, leaving behind loved ones in order to prevent their sons from being murdered and their daughters from being raped. Where is the friggin' compassion? I mean, what has happened to people? Have we lost our friggin' minds? Because I know for a fact that, you know, Joe Schmo and Sally Schmo, who send their children to private Catholic schools with uniforms and pick them up and stop at Dairy Queen on the way home. If there was gang violence that was so bad in their neighborhood that they were afraid their children were going to be killed, they would try to get the shit out of there. And they would hope that they would be welcomed by other human beings, and that somehow they would be sheltered until they could return to their home. But this administration has turned our country, who lives this very plush life, and not everybody in this country does at all, but most of the people who support Trump do, and somehow he's brainwashed them into thinking that these are criminals.